with our next one. So I would suggest you down any dregs which you might have in your glasses, ladies and gentlemen. And then a little bit about our next one. Thank you, sir. And I would just like to point out that you are in the presence this evening of a man who, before he came and had an association with me, for about 11 years, before that he was one of the top grocers in the country. No, not Al-Fayed, Al-Khal, who was the top regional manager in the country for Safeway, ladies and gentlemen. After being that and then coming to work as funeral director for me, what a come down. But that's what Martin was. So Martin has been tasting the cheese and speaks very well of one of them. I won't tell you what he said about the rest of them, but one of them, very good. Our second wine this evening is from Australia. It's a Seminole. Sorry? You tell the people. No, it's all relatives there. The dark colouring is partly aboriginal. And this comes from New South Wales, ladies and gentlemen. New South Wales is actually Australia's birthplace for the wine industry. However, it's long been overtaken by other areas in southern Australia. But in New South Wales, there is a small area, about 100 miles long, north of Sydney, which is the very epitome of the Australian wine industry. It's in a place called the Lower Hunter Valley, centred around a place called Brankstone and a mining town of Cessnock. And it's there that the early English settlers took vines. It's subtropical. Summers, ladies and gentlemen, are invariably very, very hot. And autumns can be rather like our autumns, vexingly wet. The prevailing northeast winds from the Pacific counter the extreme heat. And so, the Hunter Valley, where vines have been grown from as early as 1828, is a place which produces some splendid wine. And we have one of those for you to try this evening. It's what's described by other countries as medium bodied. And is very often beefed up by the introduction of some of the stronger grape varieties imported from the very south of that wonderful country. However, ours tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is pure Hunter Valley. These grapes are picked at conveniently low ripeness levels and then fermented in vats and bottled fairly early in the winemaking process with around 11% alcohol. These methods give rise to brassy and citrus and a relatively austere young wine. But it ages quite magnificently, ladies and gentlemen, just like all of you who live here in Woodgreen. It becomes green, golden, and toasted in mineral laden. Bombs, ladies and gentlemen, which when you savour them in your palate, will explode with flavour. So this evening, from the winery of the McGuiggins, there's a good Australian name, McGuiggins. Enjoy this tasteful bomb as it explodes in your mouth. And so, Martin and I will bring this around to you. And we hope that you will enjoy this. And once you have it in your glass, savour the colour, savour the perfume, savour the taste. That don't deserve a rating.